point out the sponsor for today. It is roundlyx.com, where you can purchase Bitcoin and other digital assets, as well as, do a little bit of change to DCAN to go ahead and get in. So check out roundlyx.com for helping us make this episode possible. Would it be, would it be, would it downright be today? Okay, so today I really want to go over something really cool, something that's kind of recent with the news. So you might have heard of something about it. It's called hash signing. Um, Hashing has a lot of different things to it, and so to take on hashing, you should start with one thing at a time. And I'm going to start with hash signing. This lets you learn a little bit of what a hash really is, how it works, but it shows you the importance and usability with it at the same time. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break what you think a hash really is and what hash signing really is. So hash signing has been one of the actual internet security methods for about 20 so years now. And in most recent years, it has basically been signing has become more unreliable. It's becoming spoofable, hacked versions of hash signing, allowing for malware to kind of go rampant and some other bad scenarios. And so when we go to say what exactly is hashing, it's algorithmically changing what we see. So that way, like if we type in a plain text like A equals B or hello, the output doesn't say that. And that's the importance of hashing. It hides what we need to with math. Sometimes you can reverse it, and the way we normally do it though is we make a version you can't reverse. But what you do is when you send something through it, you're guaranteed the same type of output, no matter who inputs it, as long as it's the same input, same output. And then make systems where we don't need to know your password for your password to work. We don't need to know what your name is for your name to be accepted into the system. And so we're going straight into hashing. All right, so this is a SHA, a secure hash algorithm, number 256, which means there's 256 bits inside these SHAs. Now, you see there's a QR right there on the side of the screen right above my little head. And if you go ahead and scan that, you can follow along. You'll be able to follow along the whole time. And if you're watching the pre-recorded version or the after the live version, you can go check in the description for the reference links to get all these quick and easy so you can follow along. And as you can see, I have some fun words up in here. And as we see on the bottom, it's telling us what my SHA is. And if you actually pay attention, you'll notice the SHA is based on what's inputted and where it's inputted. Just adding a comma, and we've changed up part of the hash already. Now, kind of the importance of learning these different ones is there's two different types. This one, and then there's CRC. That just means we can reverse it. CRC is used for like files, images, videos, almost anything can go into a type of CRC. Base 64 being like the number one used for media. And so, but we can use it for anything, including tech. And I just want to show you what that looks real fast. Hello. Comes out SGVSBG8 equals. And even the capital lowercase, all important here. And great thing about it is I can be guaranteed that it's on the right path or on the right track or in what we need it, because I can always reverse it and I can always go backwards with it. Now, this one doesn't actually show us going backwards, but they do have a decoder on the site. Now, for the other various decoders, you even use one maybe already in your computer. Most computers can do base 64 encode and decode, and so can your web browser. Just to show what I mean by decode in the browser. Your web browser can do a lot of fun techniques without you knowing it. So if I put in QR135, get a QR. Some web browsers, if you take a hash and you directly put it in there, it will be able to output what the CRC. Now, I don't think mine does, but many can. No, this one does not. Now, if I wanted to say, it's not working. It should be text and then SHA-256 to store stuff in SHA. It's not working for me, but luckily we have another website for all that, which we're going to go to right now. So this is just MD5 hashing.net. MD5 is a type of hash, and kind of the important part of this is depending on what hash you're using or even what type of generator you're using, from like this one's specifically 256, this one's specifically 256. So we could potentially get two different outputs of the exact same input because they could be running slightly different algorithms. A lot of times companies use this technique in order to, create their hash signature. Well, they'll have a SHA they use in-house that's not available publicly to create the data, take their files and turn it into a hash to be able to say, this is how you can verify this. You take the file and you just run it through their program and it output the right output. Sometimes their signatures will be mixed in with the file. But the point of the signatures are variable. They are used for so many different things. And what we really want to see is the fact that they change for what's inputted. This one is just taking a long time. And when you're probably doing it on your own, you'll probably see some of these hashings take a long time, some don't. Like if I go to here, base 58, which is a common way Bitcoin signs messages on the blockchain. When you type in orange, and we immediately get an output. And at the same time, if I cut out the output, oh no, this one, oh, there it is. It's another one of those reversible. We can ask for hexadecimal, we can ask for text. Doesn't, this one gives us more options. Some of them give you more options than that. But basically, when it comes to most prevalent form of hacking, these security or these SHA hashes are something what I like to call leak hacking. This just means that the hash, because it's so hard, we're not going to hack it in the traditional sense. So what they've been doing is they've been getting very specific hashes through leaked data and sometimes directly stolen data from companies. Recently, we've seen this hit Microsoft and even the Android device because they're obtaining signatures that you out in the wild, and they're used as a trusted hash signature. Now, that's where this comes in. The problem is it's kind of more difficult to take trusted hash signatures off the table in the current model. So I really wanted to show you this one, but this is taking too long. So I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to keep going because basically these two should output something slightly different, even though we have the exact same input for the exact same type of SHA, because this one right here is like hand coded, while this one is known to be will coded. So base 64, that was the base 64 guru, base 58 on track. So talking like why we're doing this to secure things, right? Because anybody can right click and save as, which kind of is a scary part of everything, knowing that it really takes to do something major, like even hacking, we like to call script kiddies. A lot of people use them. I'm actually a script kiddie all the time. I prefer to use pre-made scripts that we know work instead of building my own or building my own programs to do the same thing. That's what ScriptKitty is. They are doing the simplest, easiest formations of hacking, and sometimes those are the ones that really pass by. And then because of like a lot of the leak hacking that we've been having of these signatures, certificates for, like I said earlier, Android and Windows specifically lately, also I think NVIDIA, um, they have been used for more nefarious attacks where malware and spyware hackware that might have not gotten past maybe your antivirus or maybe some other detection system, now definitely getting past and are being marked trustable. Why? Because what kind of scripts are being used in the type of hack they're doing might be hard to just generally see. Plus, now they also have a certified trusted hash to go with that. Makes it a certificate. So we want to show you compromised certificate systems. We want to go, okay, hackers sign Android malware apps with compromised platform certificates. Big word, a lot of things, and it's absolutely what I just said. Basically, hackers had got some leaked hash signatures or certificates for Android apps, devices, systems, and are putting them into their malware, putting them on like Play Store and things like that. And they're not getting right away. They're taking quite more time to find them because, well, their certificates are legit. So it's and so some you see malicious Android app packages. These are known places where these types of packages have been coming from. This is kind of how we found the data. We can actually see certificates and the sample, something you do when you're capturing data. So you can see what certificate they use, plus you can see the actual SHA that came from doing what you would do to verify that certificate. And in this process, we're basically learning that the old method just it's not working like it used to because the next step in the process is doing like a rat or remote access Trojan, or even like just watching your keys, what you press. So they can catch passwords, they can catch anywhere you've been, they can do so much spying on you, and have it might not even really be spying, but remote access Trojans are the worst of hacking something. It means you actually take it over remotely. You're not there, but you just took it over. And so, as you see in this article, if you go ahead and read it on your own, I'm not going to go through it all. It's audio, but basically it's explaining how these are being done and how to actually do them. Um, and there's various different ways, which this is probably the most common. It's a brute force, like try all the possibles. But I just want you guys to have access to this so you can learn how it's done. It's better to learn how it's done to protect yourself some. But we're here for the hashing. So basically, um, we have this other one right here, how to hack an Android phone. And in some of these systems or spikes, uh, you can actually use some of these bad certificates in your hack. So, as they will actually go through different ways to spy on someone and things like that, these can also be used to then in these methods can also be used to do something a little bit further or beyond way more dangerous because basically we have tons of ways to get it to you. A lot of times you just download it from the app store, which is as scary as that is. And here they just go over the actual steps people are going to do, what you're going to do, and half that's going to be using an application that, like I said, has these bad certificates or leaked, hacked certificates, and so you can actually get kind of experience with it by checking out the site Spike and a couple of other applications that have been known for a few months now, and so wanted to show you because if you're learning, it's fun. If you have own, you can do it to it. Um, I've actually done something like this where I have an app in one of my kid's device, so I can check on what she's doing while she's doing it without her knowing. I just saw her screen. I don't see what she's doing, but I see her screen, and that kind of system is being used because I have a copy of a bad certificate that I am using in her device. So yeah, we have good reasons to use them, but there's also bad reasons to use them. So let's continue on the good reasons, because everybody wants to crack things, everybody wants to break things, and basically we do this a lot of times with word lists. This is the traditional way to do something like breaking your hash. Right here, Craig's Crack Station has one of the leading crackers, and it doesn't crack nearly as much as hope it would do. So we're just gonna copy this, and we're gonna see if Crack Station can crack it. Now keep in mind this has up to 20, no salts, which we did not put any salt in there. Salt just means adding in some kind of entropy to change output. Like I was saying earlier, sometimes businesses will have a different way of doing the SHA to ensure they get, basically a slightly different output. So they want none of that. They just want standard, which we just pretty much was supposed to get. As you can see, it was not broken. It doesn't even know what it is, letting us know that this SHA-256 is a slightly different SHA-256 than a standard SHA-256, or what a standard should be. But at the same time, if it didn't, if it was unable to, it would just have a result here, or a type here, and it'd still be read, because SHA-256 is one of the harder ones to break, just like SHA-512 is even harder to break. Oh, so now that you're seeing this, you want to play with this, go ahead. It's lots of fun. And this will also help you find out which place to go to for your hashing, to, ensure you get better hashes. Okay, so there is a way to kind of sort of prevent this stuff from happening, and it involves IPFS. And there's a lot to be learned through IPFS. You can do with IPFS. So I just want to reference this video right here. This is, if you look here, it's on YouTube. This should be the QR. Actually, I verify that's the QR in 1 second. Just explain what we're looking at. It's IPFS, like official IPFS, YouTube, and there are a series or videos on things that work with IPFS, or how to work with IPFS, as like a coder. So you might not need to know all that, but there might be coders out there watching. I want them to know where to go to find help, or if you want to learn and you don't actually want to do it, you just want to learn how it works. These people are going to be able to break down to you as easy as possible. So when we're talking about IPFS to prevent these problems, we're actually saying, basically saying that IPFS and the Bitcoin network, for example, these are two different networks that have actually some form of the hash attacks that we're seeing nowadays. And some of these can actually be used completely offline. And that is kind of one of the secret tips and tricks to preventing, well, hackers from using leaked hashes. And with IPFS, we can actually create dynamic hash signatures, indexes. So what are we actually saying? We're basically saying, if what we're going to do is we're going to upload secure information to IPFS, and we're going to then make a folder for these files, or basically we'll make the folder, then put the files in them, and we can remove, boot, or keep IPFS hash files of our securities hashes to ensure that people can verify what they got is what they should have got. And so you might not have a node. Not everybody does. Here is a quick and easy website, well, to upload IPFS. Now, the only problem is with something like this is, it might take a long time before your data is searchable, like through your browser or a gateway, or some of the other many ways you might be able to look IPFS stuff up. But it can definitely give you something that you're going to be able to use in the future, which is CID. So basically, we can we can encrypt data as if it's going to be uploaded to IPFS to get a hash. I'm just going to click choose a file. I'm just going to click a file, which is a QR of 11. And now guess what? I have the CID. I can then give people the CID. I can put it in the gateway. I can transmit it in many various ways. IPFS.io/IPFS/ whatever CID I have. Hit enter, and it's going to try to find it through the IPFS network. Now on my phone, I can actually type in IPFS : the CID, and my phone has IPFS natively in its browser. So we can get these hashes. We can then do things like use fun tools to make sure that the hash is correct or proper or good. Look at here. Here is my hash data. We can see it was used base 58 with the Bitcoin protocol signing. The actual signature version. I believe this is the public identifiers. So there is my actual SHA-256 of my data that I uploaded. It's just a QR file, so that meant 11. We can see there's basically no real prefix. We can see tiny bits of data that probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but the type of tree being used to determine the math output or reversing or no, signaturing to go forward, not to go backwards. Then we can get, okay, here's the base 58 multi-base, and then here's the hex of that multi-base, and then end result, we have even a base 32. And you see base is used a bit because it's reversible, and it's really important. So having a reversible hash, non-reversible hash, to ensure that the reversible hash has not changed is the secret here. That really is the secret. And so we can take a file of the reversible hash to then get a non-reversible hash of that data and then put the two together in a unique way to get yet a different hash, IPFS. That's what a CID really is, and CID just stands for call identifier. And that's pretty something neat. I think this method right here is going to be more of the future. We've already seen like some mobile makers use this type of systems and technology to start, securing their data in different manners than they used to, and making old types of attacks to their servers less worrisome because your data isn't there. There's less on the server to be had, which means there's less types of attacks. But we're not done. There's still another way to view IPFS stuff, and that's right here. So we're just going to paste, and we can actually view the file data, the raw file data. We can get a web copy link or direct link for someone else, and we can even see if they have a gateway right here at the bottom. This is really neat because it works on most browsers, phone and non-phone. And if you don't have a whole lot to mess with in like a node, this is probably the easiest way to actually obtain what that file is without viewing it, which is kind of neat. Knowing that you can actually view a file without downloading it is cool. Or download a file without viewing it, is cool. But that's not the last part we're talking about, because we want to know how to actually put secure stuff on IPFS. This is just how to get IPFS stuff up there and how to verify that it's good, and even how to re-access it later on in the future in case you don't have a node, or just run a node, put it on your node, pin it to your pinata cloud, whatever. It works because it's decentralized and it's designed to work in a decentralized manner. Anyone can use it in many different ways. But let's get to the nitty of the book, and that is, how do we store signed and encrypted data on IPFS? There's an entire article right here by Joel Thorson, who actually did a really good way of breaking this down. I didn't want to re-go over it because he does it very, very well. Pretty easy to understand, and well, it's not that long. Let me just put it to you that way. If I was to write this, it would have been a 25-minute read, easy. He makes it 7 minutes of your time. And going through it, you can see lots of stuff is linked. So if you want to learn more, you can always learn more. But basically, he's talking about using, well, JavaScript for your IPFS. One of the easiest ways to mess with, access, and use IPFS nowadays, which means it's going to be more mobile friendly, it's going to be computer friendly, and it's going to be most device friendly, including, because believe it or not, JavaScript works on your game stations, your PlayStations, your Xboxes, your Nintendo Switches, all these different weird devices. I've even gotten Nintendo DS XL, so DS XL or 3DS XL, to use IPFS ways. And what I used it for was actually mining Bitcoin. We actually put a miner on IPFS, and accessing that IPFS file would start the web miner. And I actually was able to get so many different devices that should have mined Bitcoin to mine Bitcoin in this manner. And because it's decentralized, I didn't have to worry about it like disappearing forever, because I have a node to ensure that file stays up. This is the downfall of IPFS. Just because you have a node doesn't mean it's going to stay up. Just because you have it out doesn't mean it's going to stay up. You have to have a node up with your file on that node, which is the important reason for being able to download that raw file. Because if I re-upload a raw file that I've already uploaded to IPFS, the CID signature, as long as the type of signature, like here, base 58 BTC, is the same, the IPFS hash will be the same. So even if it gets taken down, I can take it back up, and everything that has that hash linked in some way will work again. So there's a way to resave, reuse, restore data back onto the internet. Um, 1 second. 1 second. Okay, that should be. Sorry, I just had a glitch there in my system. And being able to re-upload stuff back onto the internet is something in a dire need. Now, when we're talking about wrapping and putting stuff on the IPFS, we want to do it right. You don't want to go any or anything. So they're actually going to show you how to do it in many different ways. Now, most people are not going to go through this, but if you're building a system, you want to make sure you have something like this. This is the reason your dev, so they can figure it out. There are tools that I've shown you, like MD5hashing.net is actually a really good tool to secure your data. It is trusted by very many, and it is considered an absolute standard of that hashing system. So basically, what they were talking about, you're going to take that. You're kind of what I said earlier. You're going to take the data, you're going to put it into a signature. You're going to then, you're going to basically wrap it with something that's reversible. You're going to take the password and sign it. So you're going to turn it into a secure hash, and then you're going to put the two together, and you're going to make another secure hash and a reversible base 58, and then you're going to do a 58 BTC signature into the manner of putting it for IPFS, which we saw earlier. Like this one is version 0. I think version 1 and 2 exists as well. And then we get basically the base 38 output that CID is going to be based on, which then we can use fun stuff to get what we commonly see in IPFS, the Q. So it normally starts with a Q. QMC is very common, but there are other ones. And there's even IPNS. We actually have other forms like DNS and things like that running through IPFS. So now once we go there, we got to, there's still one more step to go through. And basically, how can we do this offline? We really want something secure. We want to break the system. We have to verify our signatures offline, not online, offline. What does that do? That means the data isn't directly available. It's going to be less subject to attacks, but it's still going to be very helpful if you have running an application or anything like that, or perhaps you just want to run a website that can actually be decentralized secure. Running an IPFS node offline, but sub-connected through network of IPFS to get online is still possible. Nodes talk to each other, allowing something you have to be sent over the network until it finds a user that is online, for there to be an online viewability of that system for someone who doesn't have like IPFS node installed. Now, this is a full thesis. This is the real deal. I'm not going to go over it. I just want you to know it exists, because if you're wanting to go this extra distance and do the rightful thing, this is it. But the important part of this is communications offline or an intranet communications can be very fast, efficient, effective, and useful for many things. Verifying your hash signature of what game you just installed, it might be one use, but the other thing we're not thinking about is if you have a folder that isn't online, that contains files that isn't online, you can change what files are in that folder, and the hackers who might have stolen files out of that folder don't know if they're in there anymore. So basically, when someone hacks the system, the company, the network, they get to files, they leak them. You can then dynamically change what signatures are being used, even as far as you can submit and move basically new CID signatures to holders of those certificates that have been previously verified, which is kind of neat, because that means no new person will be able to use that old file or old signature, but everyone who has previously verified that they have a correct signature will be able to then re-verify their signature. They'll be able to get a new signature to ensure it's correct. So using encrypted data on IPFS, encrypt your hash or your cert, reversible with also a SHA, and then put that into a combination. This is the way to go. You can also do this exact same method on Bitcoin, Litecoin, a couple of other major networks that have considered secure chains. And with a secure chain, you basically send out a memo of your what you know CID inside of another base format of your picking, which becomes your entropy to allow some form of unsurety, and then you sign it in the memo or the OP, and that allows you to will put that data out there, and in the future you can call back to that exact block it was blocked in. As long as you're mining that network, you know that's not ever going to go down. As long as you can help ensure the hash rate stays up, that attackers can't reverse or 51 attack or other various things, you'll be able to ensure it stays up. Now, because of recently, a lot of you are probably hearing about like the phones being attacked. And yeah, this happens. And if you're paying attention and you realize how these things work, you can even do stuff like find your hash of your app, or before you download the app, get the hash of the app and check it. You'd be able to find databases, or you might already know where some are because you were basically paying attention and learning ahead of time. And again, IPFS is a lot of fun. You can see this is not popping up now. If I keep hitting refresh for a couple more hours, it will pop up. The node will find me. And there's a lot you can do here. I use it as digital storage or a cloud that can be somewhat private in a public manner. And at the same time, I use it to a lot of my web applications I already use online. And now I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. I know this was a bit shorter than usual, but I wanted to just, this is a lot of information. I have to actually go back and read some. And I didn't want to sit here for an extra 30 minutes just explaining every little detail. I want to give you the basics, because that right there probably already broke what you thought a hash signature was. You probably thought a hash signature was my name in a file, and then boom, what comes out is what we get. But no, you actually realize that it's a series of layers to ensure a little bit more security in that tiny bit of text. It's insane, but awesome at the same time. Hope you guys really enjoyed it, and thanks for showing up.